That's done. This meeting is being live streamed. Got it. So I'm basically going to have like the YouTube here and the results here. So it's going to be hard for me to see you guys, but I'll make it work. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Disaster Party Podcast. As always, I'm Rob Cedeno, joined by my co-host.
Oh, daddy, it's your boy Andy Vivians. It's BIVIANS, for I am the one true daddy of Vivians INC, professional wrestling, and your American icon. Like I always like to say, wrestling is on the marquee, and tonight we're on episode 70. Whoa, daddy.
Okay, all right. And coming or joining us. Yeah, it was a little bit of a stretch.
But I got it.
I give you props for creativity, though.
Joining us, returning to the podcast, we have Brent.
Draw is back, baby.
The draw is back.
Can kind of get you guys some ratings.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
And you got to have the draw for the granddaddy of them all, WrestleMania.
So, as
if you didn't have me on the podcast, you'd be fired.
Oh, we're gonna talk all about Mr. McMahon. So, if you can't tell already, we will be talking about WrestleMania 38 from this past weekend.
No numbers, pal. That's another Vince thing. He doesn't want numbers anymore because it makes WrestleMania seem old.
Oh, my bad.
It's WrestleMania Star for Dallas.
Oh, got it.
Dallas, baby.
Even though they already had one in Dallas, so that was WrestleMania Star. So
yeah, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
That was Stardust's last match 6 years ago.
Oh wow. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That's crazy considering
WrestleMania Star.
Yeah.
So guys, before we jump in, Brent, how's everything been since the last podcast episode? Andy, what's up? How's everything since last week?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, you don't want to be that angry guy, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Let's not even get into that. Those who know. Sean knows. But yeah.
Andy?
I'm good. Cannot complain. I caught a stunner from a hot dog inside a mall. So,
okay, let's hear about that.
So, I was a part of a battle royal in Palisades Mall, and I got stunned by hot dog stars. A hot dog. This is what wrestling has come to. Wrestling has come to things that are viral. Hot dog. It was a freaking hot dog. Those jive-ass turkeys stunned me in a freaking hot dog.
Was it like a mascot for like the hot dog stand on the mall or what?
Listen. I mean, he's known around it. I'll give him that. But next time I see him, it's not going to be the same. I'll tell you that.
Oh shit!
You should call like a Macho Man promo on him. You got to come in with your hot dogging and your grandstanding.
Nah, see, Pittman comes in grandstanding, and now he's got his buddy Hot Dog and his buddy Johnny Chill, and they think, oh, we're the great guys. Nah, I got something for their ass.
Well, you know what here's what you need to do. You need to team up with Cheeseburger from Ring of Honor. So Cheeseburger fights Hot Dog.
Oh,
there you go. So give me the pencil, brother.
I'm pretty sure they faced each other before too.
All right.
How are you, Rob?
Oh, I'm good. Just trying to sell this house, so I'm just moving. But besides that, good.
That's good.
But before we jump into WrestleMania, I just want to tell everyone to remember to like, rate, review, comment, subscribe, and follow Disaster Party Podcast on all social media platforms, including YouTube. And don't be like Edge and miss out on updates because you're in the dark, follow and subscribe.
I almost said follow the buzzards, but there's no light with buzzards.
Yeah, there's no. Well, because I have Raw on, and Edge is now coming out, and he's kind of looking like Constantine.
Hey,
okay, I could see that.
Well, after we're done with this podcast, and then I'll probably like 20 minutes fall asleep.
Well, I'm just saying, like Constantine. That's it. I'm not spoiling nothing. All right, guys. So this was a 2-night event, as per usual, for the last couple of years, and in Dallas, Texas. There was two 2-hour pre-shows on both Saturday and Sunday, and little to nothing happened on both.
No matches on the kickoff. Doesn't usually happen, but I want to save all the guys.
They have some matches. I think the Battle Royal was on SmackDown, right?
Yep, and so is the IC title triple threat.
I wonder why they did that.
As it was probably acts as like a pre-show because they know more people watch SmackDown than they do the pre-show.
True.
Well, they gotta do something on SmackDown. You know, that's something I don't like about Sunday move SmackDown Friday. Like, it's fine for just like the regular year, but for WrestleMania, it always feels like it's in a spot, like right before the big show. You know, like because it's Friday, like you're trying to put something on SmackDown that's like worth watching, but you don't want to like give away anything too good because then you're like, well, Sami may as well save it for Mania. So it's like it's in a weird spot.
Well, Friday and Saturday used to be the Hall of Fame spot back in the day.
Yeah. Or NXT too. And now NXT.
It always used to be Hall of Fame on Friday, NXT on Saturday, Mania on Sunday. That's how it always was for years.
Yep.
But then when I started going to the 2-night thing, they had to stretch it out even more. So.
And even NXT, the pay-per-view for NXT Stand and Deliver, right? It was during the day on Saturday.
Yeah, it was at 1:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So it's definitely been a tight weekend of wrestling. I mean, between the GCW show and the ROH show and the Joey Janela show, and there's probably a lot of other shows that I'm not even thinking about. This weekend was packed full of wrestling.
Well, yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say. Even just WWE alone is packed, but then you think about all the indie stuff. Like you said, at Ring of Honor on Friday night, and then Impact did something like immediately after. They had their multiverse of matches show, and the funny thing is Briscoe brothers wrestled on both. They had their match with FTR, and then they like must have jumped in a car, drove down the street to a different venue, and did the Impact match also.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so they main evented that show against the Good Brothers. So they had a busy weekend. I mean, that's not always how Mania was before the pandemic. They would just have indie shows nonstop, like just one after another for like a week straight almost.
Yeah, true. So what did you guys have any like expectations or were you guys excited going into this WrestleMania, or was it just like, you know?
I wasn't like overly excited. Like I felt like there wasn't as much buzz going into Mania this year as there usually is, other than some things. Obviously, like Stone Cold coming back was a big deal. And there definitely were some matches that I was looking forward to, but there also was some stuff that I was like, I don't know if that's Mania worthy, but
I was looking forward to it just because it was Mania, and then you did have the rumors about McMahon. You went in, you knew about Austin, so they had a lot of good matches lined up for Mania. So I mean, I was excited to see where they would go with certain things. And
yeah, I mean, you're always excited.
Matches.
You're always excited on some level for Mania just because it's WrestleMania. Like, it's always cool to just see a show in front of that many people, in front of a huge stadium.
Yeah.
I was like probably not too excited for WrestleMania, but I was, it's always WrestleMania, so it's a good time to hang out, cool, and all that. But I haven't really been keeping up with the product, so I just listened to podcasts, and everything's kind of like, it's a repeat match. So I was like, okay, I don't really know the storylines too well going into them, but it sounds interesting. So I didn't really have any expectations going in.
Well, I think that kind of goes into what I was saying about maybe not buzz this year, because when you looked at the card, there were some matches that are like, I'm sure that will be a good match, like bell to bell, but like I don't care that much about it because there's not really much of a story going into it.
Yeah.
You got to have the story to get people to really kill the match before it happens.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to talk about that as we get through the match. But we're going to work WrestleMania Night 1, and then we'll give our thoughts, and then we'll work WrestleMania Night 2. So, like we said earlier, there was a 2-hour pre-show before Night 1. Nothing really happened on it. There was no matches. The actual pay-per-view or WrestleMania started with the Usos versus Shinsuke and Rick Boogs for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Guys?
Just matches that I kind of was just talking about, like not really much of a story going into this. Tag team division's kind of light. Like and then obviously this match was cut short because of an injury, which is not good, obviously. Feel bad for Boogs.
So yeah, Boogs basically had one of the Usos on top of him, and then the other one kind of jumped on top of him, and he had both of them on top of him, and you could see his left knee just buckled, and it immediately went to the finish, and Shinsuke took what I still call the 3D, but I guess they call it something else now.
1D.
Oh, the 1D. So
one and done.
So then Shinsuke took the pin, and then you could see Boogs was getting carried out, which, like I said, that was his first Mania, and that kind of sucks.
Boogs is strong, though.
Well, clearly not that strong.
And he's going to need surgery. Once that injury sucks.
You're cutting out a little bit. How long is that injury going to cost him?
I didn't say how long because I don't know how long. I just said he can ask Triple H how much it sucks.
Yeah.
Did he tear his quad or was it his knee?
That was his quad. Yeah, it's rough. A bad injury.
Yeah.
I was happy for the match because I love seeing the Usos. Like the Usos, I think are one of the great tag teams that are on TV today. And Shinsuke and Boogs have been working a lot together as of late, so it was kind of cool to see their dynamic with it too.
Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah. Again, I don't want
shredding. McAfee. McAfee's the best part of the entrance. He gets him on the table and starts dancing.
Yeah, I guess McAfee's going to be his prime cheerleader now.
Yeah,
I think he has been for a while.
It's a good point. They should have McAfee come out with the Shinsuke now.
Yep.
While Boogs is out.
Or have Boogs sit in the wheelchair and have him just still shred from the wheelchair.
That's true. He could do that. So that match was 6 minutes and 55 seconds. It was a good, crowd opener, minus the injury.
Well, yeah, like we said, it probably would have went a little longer if not for the injury. They obviously had to cut it short because of that.
Yeah. So the next match we had, again, this to me on paper seemed like a pretty, obvious winner. It was Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin. But little did I know, because I don't watch the week to week, was that Happy Corbin has been undefeated since he became happy.
That's why he's happy. He's undefeated.
Yeah. So this match went 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Drew McIntyre did win, but this was a solid match between the two, I say. And I also didn't realize that the Deep Six, what's it called? His finisher?
The End of Days.
End of Days.
Yeah, I didn't realize that the End of Days has never been kicked out of. And Corbin hit Drew McIntyre with the End of Days and Drew McIntyre kicked out.
Yeah, normally he hits the Deep Six and then someone will kick out in his matches if he's going for it. But yeah, I don't think anybody's kicked out of that. Yeah, so that's two big deals on his end.
It's like the most protected move in the company right now, I feel like.
Yeah, seriously.
And like, so I don't know if it was a great decision to have someone kick out of it, but if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it on WrestleMania. And obviously, they got big plans for him, I think, moving forward. This is one match. Like I agree with you. I thought the match was solid. I think Corbin's underrated. I actually think he's a good worker. People like shit on him a lot. And this match actually did have like a pretty long story going into it. They've been feuding like since like before the Royal Rumble.
And then that's why McIntyre faced Moss at Saudi Arabia, right?
Yeah. The only thing that dampened it a little bit is, like you said, there really was no doubt on who the winner was going to be.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, solid match.
And then at the end, Drew McIntyre got his sword, and he actually cut the top 2 ropes, which was cool because Moss came and tried to get in front of him.
He was coming for heads. He's like,
yeah,
I have the power.
He was definitely swinging pretty hard on that, actually.
Going for Highlander status, man.
Oh, yeah. So then this match, though, upcoming. So right now, I think the first 2 matches were solid. You know, nothing to talk, nothing to go home about, but they were solid matches. But this next match was The Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. This match went 11 minutes and 15 seconds. So it was a pretty decent length of a match for a Logan Paul celebrity match.
Yeah, he looked pretty good in it too.
He did. He took. Go ahead.
He hit the Three Amigos, showing disrespect because of Eddie Guerrero, and hit the frog splash and the shimmy.
Yeah, and he did the shimmy on the top of the ropes. And then he took the double 619. Now we can, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I was trying to say through it. I don't think you guys heard me, so I don't know if my internet was cutting out or what. But that's all right. We can move on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, the only thing I was gonna say about Drew is like, can we talk about this thing with the sword? Because like it's kind of crazy. Like this guy's supposed to be like one of the top baby faces, and he's like committing attempted murder every week by swinging a sword at people's heads.
That's true.
Listen, Highlander was a top baby face, and he was cutting off heads left and right.
I guess if the guy's hated enough, it's okay. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me.
There could only be one.
All right, so let's talk about Logan Paul's entry. So The Miz and Logan Paul actually had matching attire, and apparently Logan Paul was wearing a Pokemon card worth like millions of dollars around his neck.
Oh, he still has that? I thought he gave that away.
No, he had it. He was wearing it, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he's won that or walking out to his fights before.
And then you had Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Rey Mysterio was dressed in the Mexican flag, and then Dominic was in the U.S. attire. So that was interesting. Dominic looked pretty good in this match, actually, but the focus definitely was Logan Paul. He took a lot of the he was selling a lot, and then he got a lot in, actually. So overall, though, I wouldn't say Logan Paul was the best celebrity, but he's definitely up there. I'd say top 5 right now.
Brent, was it you that pointed out Dominic's outfit last night, or was it Sean?
Yes, I didn't really realize it at first, but it hit me later on that it was a tribute to Eddie Guerrero's gear from the When Worlds Collide pay-per-view. So if people don't know what that is, like, back in like I think it was like 93 or 94. This was like AAA, the Mexican promotion. They did a pay-per-view. It was kind of like the first time Lucha Libre was like exposed to U.S. audiences. It was a AAA pay-per-view, but it was like produced by WCW. Like Eric Bischoff had a hand in like producing it and getting it on like American pay-per-view and stuff. And this was like the first time people saw Eddie Guerrero and Conan, Rey Mysterio, those type of guys. And that's what kind of led to all those guys going to WCW and starting the cruiserweight division and stuff. And if you go back, Eddie used to be in a tag team with a guy called Art Barr, Love Machine, and they were like, I forget what their tag team name was. It was like the pair of terror, but it was in Spanish. I don't remember exactly what it was. And they had a match on that pay per view that was like really like highly rated, like one of the best matches. And he was wearing gear similar to that, like American flag style. And I think that's why Dominic wore that.
Interesting.
It looks spot on too. When you sent the picture, it looked pretty spot on. Just I think Eddie had it as a jacket, and I think Dominic had it as like an overall like ring outfit,
Like a
right?
bodysuit thing that he wears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was the finish again? I know the Miz and Logan Paul won.
I think it was a frog splash, wasn't it?
No, so Logan was on the rope waiting to get the 619, and Miz tagged him. He sacrificed him, let him get hit with the 619, but then he jumped in and rolled up. I forget which one he rolled up, either Ray or Dom.
Yeah, that's true.
Basically, he just got the pin with a roll up, but then there was a little bit of a stuff after the match.
Yeah, so after the match, obviously Ray and Dominic go, and it is Miz and Logan Paul with their arms raised in the middle of the ring, and then the Miz looks at Logan Paul, skull crushing finale on Logan Paul, and we don't know why, but I know that Logan Paul in a post interview, he said, "Fuck the Miz, fuck that guy."
Well, because the A-lister can't share the spotlight.
Yep. But then what are you going to do? You're going to do a singles match with the Miz and Logan Paul? Logan Paul is not a babyface, and certainly the Miz is not either.
Well, I think in that scenario, the Miz would be the babyface. He got a huge pop for doing it.
That's true. That's true.
That would be like a thing where like, okay, we don't like the Miz, but he's like our guy. He's a WWE guy, and this guy's an outsider, so we'll cheer for the Miz.
True.
But then again, the Miz, if the Miz wants to, he can make somebody like he can make them hate him more than people hate Logan Paul.
He is definitely capable of doing that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see. I don't know if they're gonna do that like it's right at the next pay-per-view, or maybe hold off on that for a while, but we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So match number 4, we have Becky Lynch, the champion, versus Bianca Belair. So both of their entrances were pretty cool. If you guys remember, the Becky Lynch's before her Titantron even hit, they did a Marvel-esque Becky. It said like Becky, but you know how like when in the beginning of the Marvel movies, when Marvel comes, but it shows like clips of the movies in the letters and stuff, and then it kind of goes to Marvel and all the pieces kind of like fall together at the end. Like they did that with Becky, but it was like Becky highlights through all the years, and then it was very Marvel-esque. It hit, and then it said it's Beck time or whatever it's called.
Big time Becks.
Oh, big time Becks.
And then a truck came and just dropped her off. And that was her intro.
That's kind of cool.
And she was dressed like David Bowie. Between the makeup and the outfit and stuff.
And the hair.
And the hair, yep. And then Bianca Belair comes out to a whole marching band playing her music, which was actually pretty cool. It was overall, I think, one of the better entrances because of the effort put in behind it and the fact that the band was playing on top of the music that was playing in the arena. So it sounded pretty cool. I thought
her music actually sounded really cool with the marching band. I liked that a lot.
Yeah. And this match, 19 minutes and 10 seconds. This match, the way it started, I thought it was smart because you saw Becky try to go for her, what does she call her finisher? The rock bottom, whatever.
The manhandle slam.
Yes. The manhandle.
So she tries to go for that right away and tries to end it quick, which is how the SummerSlam match was. And you got to remember, this match was been built up since SummerSlam, and the fact that Becky came out of nowhere and beat Bianca like unexpectedly. So there's been about 6 months worth of back and forth between the two of them. And this match was back and forth. There was a lot to this match. I don't know if you guys want to go into that.
They beat the bricks off each other.
Yeah, this was a really good match. Like I said, they gave it time. It was back and forth. It was pretty physical. Like you said, they did a little callback at the beginning, not just the manhandle slam, but like Becky or Bianca like went for the handshake, even though that was what got her in trouble last time. But I think she was, ready for Becky's trickery this time, so she didn't really fall for it. And then, and I thought the finish was cool. The kind of reversal that she did into the KOD.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
this
then,
this is a fun
yeah,
one.
yeah. Then Bianca got the win. I think the right person won. This was when if you can remember all the way back to SummerSlam, we did our post show podcast, and Jason was very upset about Bianca being buried. But this is a perfect example of how you gotta. Sometimes people overuse that word. You gotta let it play out. So and people sometimes people say, oh yeah, let it play out, and then they mess it up, which they do. Sometimes WWE they messed it up, and then sometimes they get it right. And here they got it right. Bianca, they said she had back, and she won the title on the biggest stage of all. So
And it was a good story too. It was like 6 months of just like back and forth, but will she, won't she, will she, won't she? I thought it was good.
Well, she's promo that I loved. I think it was the last one on Raw. She said, you told me to go to the back of the line, and I did. Now I'm back, and you can't deny me, my shot. Because a lot of times when people say that, oh, go to the back of the line, that usually means the feud over, and I'll never see you again.
Sure,
But
sure.
it's time to actually active it. Yeah.
Just want to give a shout out to Alan, who said, "Yeah."
Oh, Alan.
What's up, Alan? Is that Alan Jones, AJ Styles?
No, unfortunately, AJ Styles.
It's cool though because back in the day, you used to have a lot of stories that was built up over time, and I think this was one of them that had the time to be built, that had the time to get behind the story, that had so many different elements that called back to it, like you said, with the handshake and reversing it. Not today, learning from your mistakes. There was a lot of different callbacks in there, so I thought that was pretty cool.
This is definitely the best built match, I think, of this night.
Yeah,
and long-term storyline too.
I was gonna say, people say WWE doesn't do long-term storytelling. They did it with this one.
They did,
so
right?
Sometimes they do.
Anything else you guys want to say about this match?
Oh, I have a question because I didn't fully see it. What happened to Bianca's eye?
Oh, I think it's so Becky went
for the Molly go round, and she kicked her in the face.
Oh,
she
but
didn't
hard.
land right. Yeah.
It almost
Gotcha.
like she flipped and she looked like Liu Kang doing a bicycle kick.
Yeah.
And just popped Bianca right in the face.
It was rough.
I saw it. I was like, "Ooh, yeah, that girl's a warrior."
Oh yeah, because you didn't see the first half, right?
Of night one? Yeah. I got there right before
the next one.
Yeah.
Oh no, the Edge and AJ is night 2.
Not Edge and AJ. Oh no, yes, the next one. Yeah.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah. Word. But yeah, Bianca's definitely was the right person to go over. Again, this match, I would say overall, this is the top 3, in my opinion, one of the top 3 matches of the 2 nights.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So now, though, our next match, we have Seth freaking Rollins versus Vince McMahon's personal choice. So it was cool. Rollins came out in some blue kind of flowy outfit thing, and there was people humming his theme song. It was interesting, but the way that but the way they made Rollins wait, and you could see he was like, come on, and they waited just the perfect amount of time, and then all of a sudden, I think we all knew this, but Cody. Don't call him Rhodes. The American.
I think you are going to call him Rhodes now. I mean, especially after the promo he did tonight.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet. But right there, now we have Cody, the American Nightmare. So that was something that people were concerned with when they heard the rumor that he signed with WWE. Was he going to keep his current gimmick or go back to a different gimmick or whatever the case is? He was full AEW, New Japan created American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, same music. Yep, Homeland. Same music, same attire, and he came through the floor like he did in AEW, and it was the same AEW Cody.
I thought it was cool for multiple reasons. you see people leave and like they go and they raise their stock elsewhere. You know, we've seen Brock Lesnar do it when he left for his first time, made a name for himself in UFC, and then came back. We've seen McIntyre do it. Uh, this was different because Cody leaves, he starts AEW, he builds AEW, and then Cody comes back, but doesn't Cody doesn't come back as like it's Cody Rhodes from 10 years ago. It's him. It's him now. It's his music that fans from other promotions know him to come out as. Same thing they did when Daniel Bryan went to AEW. Like they remixed his music a little bit, but you still had like that beginning where the fans knew who it was. This was completely the same thing, and he gets to come back, and it's almost like that forbidden door. Like he kicked through it, walked through it, was the same person, and it's kind of cool to see that they're still running with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't think that he was going to be anything other than Cody Rhodes. Like I know some people were joking like, "Oh, he'll be Stardust again or whatever," and I was like, "Nah, they're not going to do that." I wasn't sure about the music. I did think maybe they were going to have him use his old WWE music because WWE's real weird about that stuff. Like, oh, we got to own it or whatever. But I'm sure, that was all part of the negotiations. I think he said that even. He's like, I don't want to hear nothing about Stardust ever again. And he's like, I got to use my music. I got to be the American Nightmare, basically is what he said to Vince. And Vince was like, well, that's what I'm buying. If it ain't broke,
Yeah.
So, and that kind of goes into what Andy was saying. Like, we've seen this before where guys, there's this thing where like maybe whatever it is, it's not working out in WWE, go somewhere else. Drew McIntyre actually just talked about this recently on a podcast where he said like Triple H told him like, go out there and give us a reason to call you back.
Wow.
And he was saying that like when his contract with Impact was up, he knew he wasn't going to re-sign with Impact, but he didn't think he was going back to WWE either. He thought he was going to try to go to New Japan. But he talked to William Regal, and Regal was like, all right, but make sure you talk to Triple H first. He's been watching you or whatever. And he was like, Triple H is not watching me. He's too busy. But then like he got the call. He said they talked for 40 minutes, and next thing you know, he was in NXT.
Wow.
So yeah, that's like a thing for some reason. Whatever Vince, he likes to see that. Like, go, show me something outside the company. And like I said, Drew, Bobby Lashley, Brock, and now Cody is another example of that.
Yeah,
makes you more valuable, to be honest. Like you had your start in WWE, and then you go out and you make your name someplace else. Then without their system, you were able to do that on your own. So you were able to bring yourself to this height. All right, now join our system, and let's show you how we can take that to a whole nother level.
Yeah. This match, though, solid. Like, in my opinion, this was the best match of the two nights. And this went 21 minutes and 40 seconds. And this was just a technical match between two really good wrestlers. A lot of back and forth, a lot of counters. The finish was two crossroads into he did two crossroads. He picked him up and he started doing the dusty punches and then the elbow.
Bionic elbow.
And then he did one more crossroads, and that was the match. But just the back and forth of what Seth Rollins hit a pedigree. It was cool because they gave this so much time because there was no real story going into this besides Seth Rollins wanted to get on Mania. So the fact that they gave us some time to actually tell a story in the match, and it was a good match. I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I agree. I actually even rewatched this one last night because I wanted to hear, we were all hanging out watching it, so you couldn't really have that commentary. So I kind of wanted to hear what they were saying about Cody. But I like this match a lot. I might agree that it might have been the best match of the whole weekend. Bianca and Becky, I think, is right there too. It was kind of a toss between those two for me.
Yeah.
I think the story. Oh no, go ahead, bro.
Go ahead, Andy. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I think the story wrote itself once Cody came out. Like you knew Seth Rollins always been, well, to the fans at least, you knew Seth Rollins always a WWE guy. Cody started AEW. Then as soon as they came big, as soon as Cody came out, all right, you have two guys. then even Rollins goes, "Welcome to the big leagues," and that just writes a story there of like Cody being like, "I can still hang even if I was here," and Rollins being like, "Hey, you're gonna fucking work for this because this is my home.
This is my house," as Paige would say.
But I will
And
say
then
one.
scream.
I will say one thing, and this is, I mean, you guys could disagree or agree with this. I would say that AEW definitely has a different in-ring style. I'm not saying better or worse, but it definitely does. But the match that Cody and Seth had, I feel like you could have taken out of WWE and put in AEW, in Impact, in New Japan. Like, I think it was a match that worked in all of the different styles in itself versus just like an AEW style flippy shit, all that other, or, you know, WWE style more entertainment, or, you know, it just had a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it was like a classic pro wrestling match, basically.
Yeah. Yep.
Real quick, just a fun little fantasy booking thing. If you guys, who would you have booked to be in this match against Seth if it couldn't have been Cody? Let's say negotiations fell through. Who would you have put in there that like the crowd wouldn't have like got super pissed about?
I don't think it would have been like, I don't think anyone falls into that category because everyone was expecting Cody. But I guess if everyone went in blank minded, maybe Shane McMahon. I think he would have gotten over. Maybe John Cena. He would have gotten over because Seth
There
has
was
been a
one
heel.
guy. There was one guy I thought of that I felt like they could have did it, and there still might have been a little bit of disappointment, but people would have still overall been happy with it, and it would have been Johnny Gargano.
Oh
I
yeah.
think if his
Okay.
music hit like that awesome freaking music from NXT, like people would have freaked out.
That's
Yeah, I
true.
would have said Ciampa.
But he had a
Ciampa
match
would've been
earlier
good.
in the day
Ciampa would
too.
have been good too. I thought about Ciampa, but he
True.
would have been like less of a surprise because he's been around. Gargano's been out for a while. Obviously, he's not under contract with WWE right now. We don't know what his next move. He might go to AEW. He might come back to WWE. We don't really know yet. But
Yeah. All right. So we got our next match, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey in a singles match for the women's championship match. Championship. This went 18 minutes and 30 seconds. This was definitely Ronda's longest match to date. Singles match. I think total, actually. It could be singles or just total. This match, I feel like we've seen a Charlotte Flair and a Ronda Rousey match, a singles match. I feel like this didn't live up to that because I didn't find this very entertaining. And then even the finish was very like, I'll run to the finish. It was like Charlotte missed the spear, hit the ref in the back. Then Ronda got her in the armbar. Charlotte tapped, but the ref wasn't there. Ronda got up, picked up the referee, and then just got the big boot in the face. 1, 2, 3.
Ronda ate that boot.
she did. But like I agree. I thought the finish was kind of out of nowhere, and like you know, to your point, they did have a match at Survivor Series a couple years ago that was way better than this one.
Yeah.
And you know, I gave my thoughts about Ronda last time when we did the Royal Rumble podcast. So anyone who remembers that, I'm not really a fan, and this match didn't do anything to change my mind.
Yeah. It wasn't that great. Wasn't that great?
I mean, yeah, especially you know when you already had a women's title match, which I thought was weird that they put both women's title matches on the same night. I figured they'd split those up. There's also a rumor flying around that Ronda was very unhappy that they were not the main event. She found out the night before and stormed out of the Hall of Fame. I don't know how much truth there is to that. You know, it's an internet rumor. You take it with a grain of salt. But knowing how she reacts to other stuff, even before she came to WWE, UFC, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I heard that she walked out of the Hall of Fame when she found out she wasn't main eventing.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got to be delusional to think you're going to main event over Stone Cold Steve Austin.
And
Well,
just every pay-per-view, every Mania she's been in, well, since The Rock won, when she partnered with The Rock.
Yeah.
She commented on that somewhere I saw, and I guess she said that like that wasn't true. Like she has the utmost respect for Austin, and like it didn't have any bad vibes going about not main eventing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that may be true, but that could also be something she's saying to save face. I don't know. Again, I'm kind of biased because I don't like her, so I'll just be straight up.
I can't believe her as a babyface. I just don't like. She's not a babyface.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% too. I think they need to turn her heel. She hasn't really had a heel run yet, even when actually funny again. Going back to the match she had with Charlotte at Survivor Series, like she was supposed to be the babyface. And Charlotte was really at her height of being hated, but people turned on her in that match. And it was in her hometown of Los Angeles. They were booed her out of the building, and that was when she did kind of start to lean into a heel character a little bit, but not fully. But I think they need to go full bore, just have her be a heel.
Yeah.
Maybe she was for a while towards their end, wasn't she?
She was just beating people. It wasn't really like heel. But
I'd say she was heel against Becky, because that was when she was doing the whole thing where I don't care about wrestling. I just I'm just there to get paid or whatever, and just saying stupid stuff online. I think she should start up a faction with Shayna and Natalya.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
okay,
turn them heel and do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But the real story, guys, of night one is Kevin Owens inviting Stone Cold to the KO show at WrestleMania. And KO came out and he was just talking shit about Stone Cold. And it was really funny. And Stone Cold then interrupted because Kevin Owens was talking shit about Texas too. Stone Cold came out. He started doing all the, he walked out, went left and right, and then he went back and he grabbed his ATV, sped down, circled around the ring. And then Kevin Owens said, cut the music, which, most people don't cut Stone Cold's music. And then he's just sitting there going, just talking to Stone Cold, still talking shit about Texas, still just going, why would you live here when there's Mexico right there? And basically was pissing off Stone Cold to the point that he said, I didn't invite you out here for this interview. I invited you out here to see if you'd have a match, a no holds barred match. And little did we know, which some expected, Stone Cold said, my first match was in Dallas, Texas, and maybe my last match will be in Dallas, Texas. And the referee came in, and it was the first match in 19 years for Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That was really bad glass breaking sound effect.
I loved every moment of it.
Yeah, me too. This was just nostalgia on crack.
Because we never thought we'd see this again. So I
really didn't think I'd see Austin in the ring again, because he seemed like one of the few people that was just perfectly content with retirement. He went out on a pretty good note. I know he said in the promo I lost my last match and I had to live with that for 19 years, but that was kayfabe. I think in actual real life, that was a good way to go out. WrestleMania match against The Rock, put him over. That was a good final thing. Sometimes the guys, they want to come back because they didn't like Edge, for example. He didn't get to have that last match. He had to retire abruptly. So I get why he would want to come back. But I'm sure they've tried to get Austin back a bunch of times, especially for those Saudi shows, and he didn't. He turned them all down. So I don't know what it was that woke him up. They wanted to do it, but I'm glad he did, because I thought this match was a ton of fun. I thought, he wasn't exactly the Austin of old, but
he took some bumps, though. He did take some bumps.
He took a bump. He took a suplex on the concrete. Big time props for that. And for being 57 years old and not having a match in 19 years, he looked pretty good.
You could tell in the beginning he was a little slow, but he was probably just finding his footing. And then
he had to loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, I think, but it actually got better once he took that suplex.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he was like, "Oh shit!" Him up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's like, "All right, the business about to pick up."
That's the Mick Foley effect. You remember Mick Foley would be like, I'd start a match out and I wouldn't be feeling it, and then someone would hit me with barbed wire, and I'd be like, "Come back!"
But there was a point they were back in the ring after they went out into the fans, and KO actually gave Stone Cold a stunner, and I actually bit oh shit, is he gonna beat him with the stunner?
Well, you are supposed to go out on your back which makes me wonder. Maybe this isn't Austin's last match. Maybe he got the itch again. Maybe he'll be back for another match or two. Who knows?
I mean, I think he could do it as long as he's not Vince McMahon. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match was definitely surprising. This was a full-blown 13 minutes and 55-second match. Stone Cold's first match in 19 years. Andy, what did you think of that?
I loved it. I loved every second of it. And it's funny because, like, if you look at, like, young Austin with hair, he had one wrestling style. Then he got hurt, which forced him to change his wrestling style, which created Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin's a man who knows how to turn his styles around to work in his favor. So, like, seeing him work again, hearing that glass, because I never thought I'd see him back in the ring again. You never thought you'd hear that music again. Just to see it was awesome. It was cool. It like Brent said, it had like that nostalgia feel, you know?
Yeah. So I think we've already kind of given away without saying it, is that Stone Cold did win. He beat Kevin Owens with a stunner by pinfall, 1, 2, 3. Again, in 13 minutes and 55 seconds. And then Kevin Owens gets arrested.
I don't know if he was actually arrested or if he just escorted out by the authorities. I was confused by that. I thought it was funny, but I wasn't sure. Like, why is he being taken out by police? I don't. I know he badmouthed Texas, but I don't think that's against the law.
But then, if you think about it, there was a point though that KO was trying to ride his Stone Cold's ATV up the ramp.
That's true. That's grand larceny.
And yeah, that could be it.
So I thought he was going to drive it through the LED screen up top. The way how fast he was moving up, he was going to. Yeah.
Which, can we give Austin props on that too? How he takes those corners perfectly around the ring?
2 wheels.
Exactly.
I would have flew off that thing into the second row.
I would have hit the guardrail, which would have thrown me.
At least a couple times.
Yeah, it took a couple people out. The only thing that was missing, too bad JR's with AEW because he should have been calling it Stone Cold, by God.
Yeah. But post-match, besides Kevin Owens getting arrested, because Brent is frozen. So besides him getting arrested, then Stone Cold stayed in the ring. He grabbed some beers, and then Byron Saxton came in, and he went to go give him a beer, and of course Byron got stunned. But I think Brent, when he comes back, the last time Byron got stunned, Stone Cold accidentally kicked him straight in the balls. So I think it was a redemption, stunner. B-Red's back.
Stunner.
He's back.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on. It's awful.
It's all right. No worries. So that was night one. I'd say the highlights of night one were definitely Bianca and Becky, Cody and Rollins, and then the Stone Cold match. I think the Miz and Logan Paul match was pretty good, but those 3 were the top things, the top highlights of night one.
Yep, I agree.
I
didn't think really any of the matches were like a dud, really, other than like Ronda and Charlotte. And maybe like a little bit the tag time matches because, again, it cut short because of the injury. But other than that, pretty solid.
Yes. All right. So now we're on to WrestleMania Night 2. Again, pre-show match, no matches. Or pre-show did not have any matches. So WrestleMania actually opened night 2 with Triple H coming down to the ring, essentially just saying, "Welcome to WrestleMania." And he left his boots in the ring, got outside the ring, gave his family the hug, and he was out.
So sad. So sad.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
Not to say, he had a great career. I mean, you remember, you guys sent you that text. He actually retired almost 30 years, almost to the day of his first match. So he had a 30-year career, great career. But again, it goes back to what we were just saying with Austin, with Edge, like, you would hope that you can kind of retire on your own terms, have like a retirement match or something like that. And he's not going to get to do that now. So,
yeah. But he has only really been part-time for like the last 6 or 7 years. So what was his last match? Was it the Saudi match with
we were actually talking about
Orton.
Yeah, I think him and Orton had a weird match on Raw when Orton was like doing his feud with Bray Wyatt. I vaguely remember it. I don't remember exactly what the story was. So yeah, it wasn't like a big glamorous match, unfortunately.
That sucks.
I think Triple H lights like a barbed wire stick on fire, and then like the lights go out, and Bray Wyatt's like playing mind tricks on Orton.
Yeah, something like that.
Huh. Well, night 2 opened with the tag match, the triple threat tag match with RK Bro, the Street Profits, and Alpha Academy. This was a solid match for these 3 teams, but this like is just rinse and repeat, just different variations. But overall, this match was solid. These guys are all solid in the ring, and the match ending sequence basically had, I believe, Montez Ford was on the top rope. Riddle came off the ropes and did essentially an RKO off the top rope for Montez Ford, and then Randy Orton came in and did his own RKO. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, that RKO was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, he caught. I think he caught Gable in midair coming off.
Yeah, and then Gable took the pin. Gable took the pin. Because Gable was about to frog splash, I think, Riddle, because he was kind of selling the fall. So he was on his back. And then while Gable went to go jump on him, that's when Randy Orton caught him.
Yeah, man. Orton's timing is just impeccable. Like the way he's able to catch these guys in midair, and like he's done it so many times.
Yep.
Facts.
Yeah, this match is like kind of the epitome of what I was saying before, where like I knew that like from bell to bell it was going to be good, fun to watch, but like it's like you said, Rob, there wasn't really much of a story. It was like they've been doing a bunch of different combinations with these 3 teams and doing tag matches like all leading up to this. There wasn't really a story going into it. I think a lot of people thought that RK Bro would have been done by now and they would have been broken up and actually had a singles match at WrestleMania. That's what I thought was going to happen.
I thought so too.
But they must be selling a lot of shirts or something because they're not ready to let it go yet.
Not yet.
Well, you got to think that RK Bro had the feud with Gable, and then they had the feud with Street Profits. Street Profits also had a feud with Gable, so they all had their like individual stories, and I think they just kind of eventually merged all 3 stories into one. At least that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
True.
Well, I think the Street Profits had won like a non-title match against RK Bro, so that was their like claim to the match. And then I think it with the Gable Alpha Academy, they like lost the title, so they want a rematch. So that was kind of like the 3-way thing.
Yeah, and then the post match was the Street Profits came into the ring with their red solo cups, offering RK Bro a drink. They pulled Gable Stevenson out of he was in the crowd. They pulled him out into the ring, and then Chad Gable knocked Gable Stevenson's drink out of his hand. All the other guys left the ring, so it was Gable and Gable. And Gable Stevenson did a suplex to Chad Gable. And then Stevenson went outside the ring, and they all just drank, and that was the end of that.
Little Shatsky.
Yep.
Yeah, for a second I thought we were maybe going to get a little heel turn, but it was cool to give Gable Stevenson a little shine on Mania there, and we'll see. This guy, obviously, like the comparison is going to be Kurt Angle, obviously, because that is, Olympic gold medalist, amateur wrestler, and he picked up pro wrestling so fast. We'll see if Gable Stevenson's able to do the same thing.
Yep. So now the next match was a highly anticipated match with a 1-week build. Bobby Lashley versus Omas. This was a 6-minute, 35-second match, by far Omas's longest match to date. And we were all confused because 1, this was literally a last-minute match. 2, there's no real storyline besides Omas was undefeated, right? and Lashley seemed to be a solid competitor. This match did not do Omas any favors at all, in my opinion. And it was Lashley took most of the heat, and then it was a suplex and 2 spears. One was to Omas's back, and that was that. 6 minutes and 35 seconds. Probably the worst real match of the 2 nights.
Yeah, probably agree with that. This match, I'll give a pass for not really having a story for 2 reasons. One, when you have a match like this, it's like a spectacle. It's just like 2 behemoths fighting each other. You don't really need that much of a story. Plus, obviously, this was like a last minute thing because of Bobby's. Like, I was surprised when I saw him come out on Raw. I was like, I thought he needed shoulder surgery. I thought he was going to miss Mania. I thought he was out for a while. So obviously, the injury wasn't as bad as everybody thought. But I don't think they really knew that until last week. So they were like, oh, well, let's throw him in with Omos. So as far as how the match went, I know some people were surprised. I think because like they figured Omos was ready for a big push. I'm okay with this because I don't see anything in Omos. I hate to sound like the stereotypical like smark who hates the big guys, but like I just don't see much in him. He's just big. I don't really see anything else other than that. You know, maybe he'll prove me wrong down the road, but for now, I think it's better to keep Bobby strong because he's a guy that can be a main event like level guy. So I'm glad they gave him the win, honestly.
Agreed. Anything on this, Andy? No. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's always cool to see what's the Big E line? Two big meaty men slapping meat, but you know, it was fine for what it was.
All right, so the next match we had was Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville. This was an anything goes match. I will say this match was not very technical in any way, shape, or form, but it was a fun match. There's a lot to talk about on this one. Some highlights were Johnny Knoxville got this like contraption with a foot to kick Sami Zayn in the balls. He bowled a bowling ball into Sami's nuts.
His nuts took a lot of abuse in this match.
Sami went through a table full of mouse traps, and when Sami was trying to escape, he gets slapped by Mae Young's adult hand. And
there was a run-in by Mark Henry Jr.
Trying to think. The Jackass crew helped us. Wee Man actually power bombed Sami Zayn. Body slam.
A power bomb would have been weird. I don't even think Wee Man could pull that off.
That's true.
I would have loved to see that.
We had Party Boy, Chris Pontius. He was in his speedo dancing, and then he got kicked straight in the face by Sami Zayn. So did Wee Man. Wee Man's face got taken off.
Yeah, he took a real good one.
And then the match ended when Johnny Knoxville and the Jackass crew pulled out a giant-sized mousetrap, which looked gimmicky as fuck. And Sami Zayn had to sell that he got trapped in the mousetrap.
Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble getting it to go off.
Yeah,
that was unfortunate, but nah, it's like you said. I thought this match was a ton of fun. I mean, this is the perfect example of like, I usually don't like it when people say this, but like this was not pro wrestling. This was sports entertainment.
Oh yeah.
But I was thoroughly sports entertained. So I had no issues with that.
Same here. And Johnny Knoxville defeated Sami Zayn in 14 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah. And again, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like really pissed off about that, but like Sami Zayn is like, he's kind of bulletproof. He can take a loss like that. It's not really going to hurt him. Like, yeah, and obviously, like, you know, especially when you consider like he did need all his friends to beat him. It wasn't like he beat him clean necessarily. It was kind of like a 5-on-1 gangbang.
Very true. And in the Jackass life, you could probably take that literally.
You can't forget Party Boy.
Yeah, that's what I said. Party Boy Chris Pontius.
Yeah, we mentioned him. Yeah.
And I think I froze. The mousetrap table.
Yep.
That he cleared.
Yeah,
Yep.
Sami took a lot of abuse in this match.
He did, but he seemed like he was having fun.
Yeah, I think so.
This, if you want to go and just see like a pretty much a car crash of Jackass, like it would be like a mini episode of Jackass, but it was a lot of
wrestling.
Fun. Yep.
Well, and we talked about it during the match too. Like, obviously, like Johnny Knoxville's not a pro wrestler, but like he does get beat up for a living if you think about what he does. So like he had no problem taking punches, clothesline slams. Like that's nothing to him. Like he gets bowls run into him all the time.
Yep. But this got, like I said, 14 minutes, 25 seconds. So this got some time. The next match was the Fatal 4-Way Tag match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. This match went 10 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't think there was much to talk about in this match. We do have new champions. It was Sasha Banks and Naomi defeated the other 3 teams. And they did some like combo move. It was like almost like a drop into a code breaker kind of thing.
It was like an electric chair almost. No, not electric chair. Like the wow, I just forgot the name. I'm on blank.
Well, either way, this was actually Sasha Banks' first win at WrestleMania.
Oh wow.
She was 0-6.
Really?
Damn.
Yep.
That's wild.
Yep. So that's why she was so teary-eyed when they won at the end. I'm assuming, at least.
Well, that's good. This was another match again. Not much of a story going into it, and then it was. But I liked it more than I thought I would. I thought that all the ladies did a good job. It was kind of a spot fest, but it's okay to have. It's fun to have one of those on WrestleMania, and I thought they all did a pretty good job, and yeah, that's cool then that Sasha won, and I didn't even realize that she never won at WrestleMania, so that's good for them. The only kind of issue I had with this match was that like, the women's tag division is kind of like there's no real tag teams. Like none of these women were actual tag teams. They were just kind of thrown together. Like Sasha and Naomi seem the most like a tag team. Well, actually, Liv and Rhea kind of do too now because they're kind of got matching gear and stuff. But yeah, that I'm cool with them being champs.
Yeah, I think it could work.
The one thing that stood out for me, and it always does, every time she does it, is when Shayna Baszler goes into joint manipulation. And she put her foot down and stomped on the back of her heel.
Yeah, I don't know how she does that without breaking.
Wild.
It's the magic of pro wrestling, I guess.
Yeah.
Wild.
All right, so the longest match of the 2 nights and the only real actual wrestling match of this entire night, we have Edge versus AJ Styles. Again, this match went 24 minutes and 5 seconds. This was just a drag out, beat down wrestling, quality wrestling match. I didn't like the finish. I'll jump to that and then we can go through the match. AJ was about to go for the phenomenal forearm. Damian Priest just shows up at the side of the ring. AJ gets distracted, goes up to do the phenomenal forearms, gets speared in midair. 1, 2, 3. Edge wins. Damian Priest comes in the ring and they cheer together. Solid match.
So this is the match I was most looking forward to going into Mania. And it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It wasn't bad by any means. Like you said, it was solid, but I expected more from them. Can't even put my finger exactly why I didn't like it as much as I thought it would, and I do agree with you that the finish was kind of like, all they had to do was tweak it a little bit. They could have just at least have Priest jump up on the apron or something. He was just standing there. He didn't even look at AJ. He was like looking straight forward, and AJ was like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And like, it just makes him look stupid. Like, at least if he got up on the apron and like looked at him or something, it would be a little more excuse for him to get distracted. But
I'm just standing there.
With that said, though, I'm very interested to see where they go with this faction. There were rumors beforehand that Edge was going to start up a heel faction. I think Priest fits in perfectly with him. I think they have like a real life kind of mentor relationship. So I'm interested to see where they go with that and who else gets added to it.
I loved everything about it, and I love the the end of the match. Here's why.
Oh god.
I love Edge's new look. Absolutely love Edge's new look. I love that he keeps reinventing himself. I love that he even went back, did the whole, brood feel for a while. Like, you got your nostalgia from there when he was a vampire. Now it's almost like he's like devil's advocate. Like he's like the dark devil now, like with his look, or at least that's how it like seemed to me. And the reason I like the ending is because it made me think back to the Attitude Era when Gangrel started the Brood, and Christian would just show up out of nowhere and just stand there, and his opponents would look at him and be like, "What is this?" And then Edge would beat his opponent, or Edge would just show up out of nowhere, and like they'd be like, "What is this?" And then Gangrel would hit him with the Impaler DDT, which Edge hit in the match last night, by the way. So I think that's a cool callback to that, especially if he's going to be starting his own group, which sort of looks like a new generation Brood. So that's the only reason why I liked it, at least.
All right. I mean, I enjoyed it, but like Brent, I thought I expected it to be better. This was definitely one of the matches that I was looking forward to, especially for night 2, because it seemed like a lot of the work rate stuff was night 1, and this seemed like a work rate match for night 2. So, but again, solid match. I'd say if you were going to say the 3 best matches of the 2 nights, I would say it was Bianca, Becky, Cody, Seth, and then Edge versus AJ.
Well, I think the other thing with this match is this one felt very WrestleMania worthy to me, because these are 2 guys that have been around a very long time, very long careers, but never wrestled each other before. This was like a first time match. This is one that you kind of say like a dream match, because like for so long AJ was like the best wrestler outside of WWE, and Edge was like a big guy in WWE. So like they had never crossed paths before, and then they finally did.
Yep. All right. So this next match, the promo video lasted longer than the match did. We had Sheamus and Ridge Holland versus the New Day, Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. This was essentially a squash match. It only lasted 1 minute and 40 seconds, and Sheamus and Ridge Holland won. And then they made Butch look like an actual dog, and Sheamus had to hold him back. There was not
Butch.
Well, I like Pete Dunne. I don't know if I like Butch, but there was not much to talk about this. This was actually supposed to be on night 1, got cut and got added into this night 2 for that whole minute 40.
Yeah, it's crazy that it was only a minute 40. But the cool thing about this was that they came out and they showed homage to Big E by wearing his ring gear out to the ring for the match the entire time. I wouldn't say it was necessarily a squash match, though, because New Day got their licks in. It was just very short, if that makes any sense. Like, New Day had the fight, too. Like, they didn't get, like, completely demolished, but, like, they brought the fight to them, and then Sheamus and Ridge Holland turned it around. But
actually, yeah, I kind of agree with Andy. I don't think it was a squash necessarily because it was short. This actually reminded me of like old school WrestleManias. Like if you go back and watch like WrestleMania 6, 7, 8, they had matches like that sometimes. Like before the main event, they were only like a minute long. Like Owen Hart versus Skinner. It's like, why is this on WrestleMania? This is like a cool down match, but so like in a way, like obviously I would have liked them to get more time, but like I don't know, kind of like like a nostalgic way. It was kind of cool that it was just like a quick go out there and just wrestle real quick. And actually there was one spot in the match where I did go like, oh shit, where like Sheamus what is that?
It's a squash match.
What is that on though?
Wrestling Republic.
There was actually one spot in the match though. It was cool. It was like where Kofi he tried to run at Sheamus and jump off the stairs and do something. He caught him with like a bro kick in midair. Again, impeccable timing by Sheamus with the bro kick.
They did a lot for like that short amount of time.
Yeah, they fit a lot in the time they had. They definitely maximized their minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Minute.
All right. So the next match, I'd say A and then B. The original match was Austin Theory versus Pat McAfee. With Mr. McMahon sitting at commentary, but not on commentary. Austin Theory came out, his Titantron had all his selfies, but Pat McAfee came out with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders and to the Seven Nation Army theme song. And the whole crowd was like singing along, and it was like he seemed like a big star. But he felt like a big star like with the entrance and the crowd singing the song with him and stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And the crowd was definitely into him.
So here's the thing. Pat McAfee, or wow, let's just say Pat
McAfee.
McAfee, he held his own. This is not the first time we've seen him wrestle. He had 2 matches in NXT. There was a cool spot that he was on the top rope with Austin Theory. Austin Theory went to go push him off, and Pat did a backflip and landed on his feet, and then did a vertical jump to get back on the top rope, and then did a superplex to Austin Theory off the top, which was pretty damn. That was a nice little sequence right there.
They teased it too. He dropped down and then hopped back up again, which because Austin Theory tried to get him off, and he did the backflip and landed on his feet.
Yep.
Which was wild.
And then Pat ended up rolling Austin Theory up at 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Again, I wouldn't say this was the best match on the card, but it showed that Austin Theory can work with someone who is, greener. The match was solid. If you never saw Pat wrestle before, you definitely were like, holy shit, he can actually go. So it was like a little bit of a showcase for Pat, a little bit of a showcase for Austin Theory. 940 didn't hurt anybody, and it was fun.
I agree.
Pat looked really impressive, but it's like you said, you got to give Austin Theory a lot of credit here too, because this kid's only like 23 years old, and he already feels like a seasoned veteran. Like, walking, like, it's like kind of, I don't want to say carrying necessarily, but leading a greener guy through a match. Guys that age aren't usually, able to do that at that level of experience or whatever. I think he's got a potential to be a big, big star. Well, obviously, like, Vince obviously sees it in him because he's doing the storyline with him. He wouldn't do that with somebody that he didn't think had a lot of potential.
Vince did intro him, and he said future, whatever, unified universal champion, whatever they're calling it right now.
Yeah. Which is something he said about Drew McIntyre back in the day.
Exactly.
And even though Drew did end up getting fired and he had to work his way back, it did come true eventually. So, we'll see.
Yep. So what about part B? This was This was terrible.
Eyes. This was amazing.
This was terrible,
but in the best way possible.
It was so bad. It was so bad. It was enjoyable.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. This is amazing. This is the best match on the card.
Oh my god! All right, so we
5 stars.
Yeah,
better than Okada versus Omega.
Negative.
Meltzer created a whole new.
He broke the rating again.
So as Austin Theory and Mr. McMahon are trying to walk out after Pat McAfee beating him, McMahon starts taking off takes off his jacket,
Let me show you how it's done, son.
And he starts unbuttoning his jacket, and you're like, oh shit, is this really gonna happen? Vince gets in the ring, and all of a sudden a referee pops up in the ring, and they ring the bell. And basically Pat McAfee just bumped for Vince McMahon for 9 minutes, or no, for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. It was like clothesline, toss into the corner, dumped outside, brought back in, and then he punted a football into Pat's stomach and pinned him.
You see those pythons? Of course he went down from the clotheslines. A Big Papa Pump would be jealous of those.
McMahon whooped his ass. And you can't leave out the fact that Austin Theory jumped him from behind in the beginning to give McMahon the leverage over. Then Austin Theory pulled Pat McAfee's nuts into the turnbuckle post.
That's
I don't know
true.
about y'all, but if y'all pull my nuts into the turnbuckle post, I ain't moving. So, of course, he'd win. And
So
I
you
would
had
love to look like Vince McMahon at his age.
Oh yeah, of course.
Veins in the Pythons, huge. Yeah,
So 76-year-old man.
love it.
I think Brett froze again. Uh-oh.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, you're a robot right now. So Vince McMahon beat Pat after 3.5 minutes. And after he already Pat McAfee beat Austin Theory, but he couldn't beat 76-year-old Vince McMahon.
Well, he also didn't get his nuts pulled into the turnbuckle post.
True.
That was the defining moment.
Well, the defining moment is now this part. Vince and Vince and Austin Theory are celebrating in the ring. And if you notice that Vince reacted faster than he should, Austin Theory's music plays and Vince like jumps. You see him like jump. And then I was like, why did he jump? And then all of a sudden, Steve Austin's music played, the glass shattered, and then you could see him reacted. He just reacted too quickly. Austin comes in, stuns Austin Theory. He sells that stunner like The Rock on steroids.
The Rock bump.
In other words, The Rock.
Theory. Yeah.
Got him.
And then the worst stunner of all time, Stone Cold gives Vince McMahon a beer. They start chugging. Stone Cold just kicks Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon stumbles into the ropes, bounces off the ropes, and then Stone Cold just like trying to find his neck and then just pulls him down. He doesn't even bump. He just like yanks him down. And Steve Austin's just cracking up. You could see he's just like, that was so bad.
He had full of beer.
I never thought I'd see anyone take a stunner worse than Linda McMahon, but I think Vince beat her with that one.
Yeah.
They just wanted to call back to the first stunner, that's all.
Yeah, but that one was even worse.
I think this was the worst one.
Yeah, it's probably the worst one of all time. But you know what? It somehow didn't ruin the moment. It just made it more fun somehow. Like, because Austin was laughing. Like, the guy's 80 freaking years old.
And then you have Pat McAfee comes into the ring because Stone Cold calls him in. And then obviously Stone Cold stuns Pat. But the memeable moment, even you pointed out, Brent, is that when McAfee ended up on the floor, he's just sitting there pretending to be like knocked out, but he's pouring a beer in his mouth.
Well, he also did the classic. I think Shane is the only other guy I've seen do it. Is he like spit the beer out after this? Like he had a mouthful of beer, got hit with the stunner, and then it just sprayed all over the place when he
did play the stunner up though, because like he got hit. And he didn't like fly back. He almost did like a slow motion.
Yeah.
Stood up, and then just fell backwards.
We also forgot to mention from night one, Byron caught a stunner also. And
he didn't get kicked in the balls.
Yeah, he finally didn't get kicked in the nuts. And he kind of had a Rock-esque kind of reaction also, sell job.
Yeah. But yeah, this again, Stone Cold 2 nights in a row, a bunch of stunners.
He's handing out stunners left and right. He put some stank on it.
I will say this was
definitely everything about it.
This was definitely entertaining for sure. But that Vince McMahon stunner, people are gonna be talking about it. It was fun.
Great. That was great.
Yeah, I'm hoping that was Vince's last match. Apparently, because the rumors before they made the McAfee and Theory match was that Vince was going to wrestle McAfee, like leading up there, and I was like, there's no way Vince is not going to wrestle. He's 1,000,000 years old. He'll have a heart attack in the middle of the ring. So when they made the Theory match, I was like, all right, that makes more sense. He might get involved. He'll be at ringside or whatever. I did not think he was, but there were rumors that he wanted to do a match because they're doing this Netflix documentary on him, and that's supposed to be like the end of the documentary is he gets back in the ring.
Okay.
Man, that man is a machine.
A Cadillac, daddy.
A Cadillac, daddy.
But who would have thought that we would have gotten a Stone Cold match and a Vince McMahon match in the same weekend?
I love it. I love all. I love it.
Feels like 2001.
Yep, all over again. All right, so now we are on the main event, the winner takes all match, the greatest or biggest match in WrestleMania history of all time.
I think Hogan and Andre might have something to say about that.
That's true. Let me summarize this as easy as I can. This was a match for 12 minutes and 15 seconds of both Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar with their specials on and just hitting spear, Superman punch, suplex, F5, spear, Superman punch, suplex, F5, all the way to the end. When it looked like, Brock Lesnar put Roman Reigns in the guillotine. It looked like he legitimately hurt him.
That was a Kimura.
Oh, sorry, Kimura.
Well, it's an important distinction because it's an arm lock, which, like you said, it looked like it did some damage to Roman, maybe legitimately. I don't know. The picture looked bad. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. He
was having trouble raising his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like his tricep was like out, or like
he was saying it's out. It's out. He was saying that to Paul, but I thought that was just selling. But maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
And then Roman got up, spear, match over.
Yeah, and that plays into that because that was my first thought. I was like, yeah, that was kind of an abrupt ending. Like, but then I, when you showed me that picture this morning, I was like, oh, maybe he legit got injured and they cut the match a little short.
But like you said, when he was in that lock, well, it was cool how they got into it. It was like Roman went to go spear him, and as Brock was falling into the spear, he caught him with that lock. And then, like you said, once he got out of that lock, Roman was saying, my arm is out. My arm is out. And you hear Paul Heyman going, you have to do this for your family, whatever.
My tribal chief.
My tribal chief. This is your moment. Actually, that was a really cool moment if you think about it. Like the Kimura itself, if you twerk just a little bit of pressure a certain way, you can like snap it instantly.
Especially when you got a big beast of a guy like friggin' Brock Lesnar.
Facts. Who could snap his arm instantly. So like I think that moment, like that was a moment there where you're realizing like they're talking to each other, like he's encouraging him, like, get up. This is your moment. Get up, push through. And it was just a cool moment to see.
Yeah. And that was WrestleMania night 2. I mean, it wasn't like the match again, it was just both power moves, just boom, 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 boom.
Well, I was gonna say is I have like a love-hate relationship with like Brock Lesnar matches because like part of me likes like the realism that Brock brings, and I like seeing hoss fights and big strong guys slamming each other, but like it also starts to feel like if you've seen one Brock match, you kind of seen them all because he does kind of just do nothing but German suplexes and F5s. Mick Foley always said it's not how many moves it's like when you do the moves that you do know or something like that. But like it's kind of hard. More hard. Seen him before. He saves that.
Agreed. Totally.
But it did.
You turned into a robot, a giggly robot.
Sorry.
That's all right. I will.
My internet.
Yeah, I'll blame your internet.
You suck. I'm online. I hate guys.
Yeah.
Got a promo on him right now.
Optimum got heat now.
But if you look at the matches for night 2, I would say that, in my opinion, night 1 was better quality wise, but I feel like night 2 had a lot more fun moments, like the Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn. That was a lot of fun. The Pat McAfee, Austin Theory, Pat McAfee, Vince McMahon with Steve Austin coming in, fun. Edge and AJ was a good match. So I mean, the Bobby Lashley match, not so much. The The 1 minute 40-second match, not so much. But I feel like night one was definitely more wrestling based, and night two was more sports entertainment.
Yeah, I agree.
I still like the New Day match. I don't know why. There's like something about it that like, I don't know. Like they got so much, even though they had a short little time to tell that story within.
Well, and at least they got to go out there and do it. Like there's been all examples of people getting their match cut all together. I remember the one always pops in my head because they made a big deal of it on Total Divas was like the Funkasaurus and them against. It was supposed to be like Cody, Damian Sandow, and the Bellas or something. They were supposed to have some kind of match, and you're done. You're not going out there at all because someone else went too long or whatever. So at least they got to go out there and do it, even if it was only for a minute.
Yeah. So, I mean, good. Actually, here's my thing. I don't really watch WWE week to week, but I had a lot of fun watching it Saturday and Sunday. And again, wrestling and sports entertainment, very different two nights, but it was enough to get me to want to watch Raw tonight. And I think that's a good thing, because a lot of times it is just kind of like stupid, repetitive shit over and over and over again. But the fact that it wasn't just same WWE style both nights. It was, like I said, there was a lot more variety than I'm used to with WWE. And I think that's what made me enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, that's what you always want. Wrestling should always be kind of like variety show. You want to see all different types of matches and stuff. So I agree.
Yeah.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I mean, I miss the
I like it a lot.
When they were one day and it was like an all-day event, but I like it a lot.
I like it a lot.
Well, the thing I was saying about it being two nights now is like, I'm with you, Andy, as far as someone watching at home. I didn't mind that WrestleMania was like 7-8 hours because it would always just be a day where me and all my friends would get together, we just hang out all day, eat, watch wrestling. So I was like, cool. But I can understand for the people in the crowd that's a long freaking day sitting in like a hard ass stadium chair for 8 hours straight. So I think for the live crowd, it is better to break it up into two nights. For watching at home, I wouldn't mind if it was one, but I don't mind it being 2 days necessarily. It's just it's like you said though, when you add everything else, if you're trying to watch other stuff, you're trying to watch NXT, you're trying to watch ROH or anything else that's going on around, it's just like so much. You're watching wrestling like 24/7 for like 4 days straight.
Well, Mania week was always like that. Whatever town Mania was in, like that was wrestling week, and like you had all the local indie promotions, even smaller promotions that people may not know of. Like they would try to book shows out there and try to get out there. And I remember one venue held like 4 different shows for 4 different companies that exact same day. So I think like one started at 12, next one started at 4. And it wasn't like just, hey, we're just going to leave this all up. Like they brought all their stuff in, broke everything down, left, someone else came in, set up everything, did their show, broke everything, you know what I mean? So like it's always been like a wrestling week for that, or big week, so that way like everybody was able to get out there. But I mean, for the people in the crowd for Mania, like it's Mania, so I feel like if you're there, even though it's like 7 or 8 hours, they're like, I'm at WrestleMania, I'm gonna watch this fully through.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it a lot. Again, hanging out between two houses over the 2 days, that was a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, small crews, just hanging, just watching wrestling. Good times.
Facts.
Word up.
If you guys have nothing else to say, I guess we could call it a night here. As always, I say, remember to like, share, rate, review, comment, and subscribe. And we promise that this Sunday, this upcoming week, we will be reviewing Peacemaker after it being pushed 2 or 3 times.
Did you guys finish watching it?
Not yet.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, at least I'm being honest.
You got a week now.
At least I'm being honest.
I mean, I have watched a lot of TV within a week, so I think I can pull this out.
That's true.
Office.
You did. You did get through The Office, so I have faith.
And then I know
Peacemaker's only 8 episodes, so you can bang
so
for that real quick.
Yeah, it's
and
not
then I
5
know
seasons.
Andy and I are both working on some cool ideas for upcoming episodes. So stay tuned. Again, follow us on our social media so you can see what the upcoming episodes are. And for Disaster Party Podcast, I am Rob Cedeno.
Oh, Daddy. I'm Andy Bivian.
And that is Be Rent. And we are out. Bye.